I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. What is going on as we take a look at the newest and latest model information that comes in? Well, you know what? Honestly, it's cold. All model runs are pointing toward cold air, trying to push in at least over the eastern half to third of the country. I think right now, honestly, with figuring out this pattern, where you really have to look is not where the cold air is coming in. Honestly, let's just say it. Who cares? It's November. It's going to get cold. If you thought it wasn't, oops, you probably should be looking somewhere else. What I'm really kind of trying to zero in on right now, though, especially at midday, is looking at the central and western United States for keys to this pattern. Because right now we're seeing these cold air incursions, these deep troughs that kind of want to sneak through, these clipper-like systems that come through the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and then dive down into the Ohio River Valley. We're seeing those carve out some fairly deep troughs, and not just on the GFS, not just on the European, but pretty much on all models. And the thing is, when you've got a deep trough that gets carved out like that, a lot of times you've got to have the equal opposite reaction somewhere close by. So we've actually seen some ridge amplification on model runs over the western United States here over the past few runs. I guess I'm not ready to jump into that just yet and look for that to be the be-all, end-all. I'm actually looking more for a slow, sagging kind of push of cold air down across the country. So to try and get a handle on that pattern, we really have to look out west. And what we're seeing right now on most model runs, including the latest midday update of the GFS, is kind of a propensity to still keep some warmer than normal temperatures over the Rockies and up into the Pacific Northwest. A ridge kind of based system that we're going to have to pay attention to. I'm looking for that ridge to flatten, especially as we get into about the 15th, 16th, 17th. And that should open the door, for some general cooling across the country as a whole. Right now, though, in terms of creating precipitation, the trough ridge axis is where it's at. And that's one of the reasons why, right now we're seeing decent moisture still trying to pop up along the front from southern Illinois through the boot heel of Missouri into Arkansas and Oklahoma here yet this afternoon into this evening. But we're also seeing a fairly significant system coming together as we go toward the end of next week, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Got that trough in play, got a strong front coming in, feeding into it, low pressure that forms down in Texas and Oklahoma and comes out up the front. That will lead to some decent moisture. As we said in our online write-up this morning, we think as we go through the end of next week and next weekend, we could actually see some 1 to 2 inch rain events developing across the Corn Belt on the whole. My thought here is the moisture that's coming through right now in most of the Corn Belt, or has in the past 12, 24 hours, has been fairly light. We should be able to work around that without any long-term delays. But if you're looking at something that's going to give a serious delay, that's that system for the end of next week. So in my opinion, as we go through the next 7 days, even though we're going to have these little clipper systems come through, some clouds, some moisture, it's not going to be over the top, and you're going to really want to try and work around those because we could see some serious delays develop toward the end of next week with whatever harvest is left. Now, I'm the first one to admit there's not nearly as much left as what we had feared or the way that the numbers were pointing toward a few weeks ago. We've made good progress. I think we're going to have to kind of be on the edge of things and try and make good progress here still this week and in through to the middle of next week before that next system arrives. What about temperatures? Well, we are looking at below normal temperatures coming in, likely in waves, over the next week and a half to 10 days, or I should say week to 10 days, across the Corn Belt. Coldest air will be on an axis from, let's just say, Minnesota down to Cincinnati. Minneapolis to Cincinnati. Along that line is going to kind of be focused over the next few days. It will come in waves. Okay, so behind the frontal boundary that's moving through today, we're looking at definitely cooler temperatures than what we saw to start the week. Our next wave will come through tomorrow night into Thursday. A little bit of moisture, definitely cooler there than what we're dealing with here now and into tomorrow. And then the last wave coming through over the weekend will usher in some very cold air. That's where we're looking for temperatures to stay below freezing for highs, probably over the northern plains and even into the upper Midwest. And we're going to be seeing lows well below the freezing mark. We're going to be seeing temperatures dip way below the freezing mark across the Corn Belt as well. From there, we're going to kind of yo-yo as long as we've got that ridge trying to be in play over the west, even though I don't like that solution per se. As long as it's showing up there, you've got to look for at least a little moderation in temperatures. As we go in ahead of next week's big system, you might see that moderation slightly across the Corn Belt and Plains in general. And then as we go longer term, it does look to me that the second half of November is going to shut off and be colder than normal over a large part of key growing areas. Well, that's what we've got in your midday forecast update. You know what? Hey, before we let you go, let's talk a bit about South America. Overall, South America looking fine to me. Got some dry areas that are going to try and pop up over the next week to 8 days in parts of extreme eastern Brazil. I'm specifically looking at Bahia, looking at maybe missing out on some moisture there. But as we go through the second half of the extended forecast period, actually that eastern location picks up good moisture. So I'll just delay things there in Bahia a little bit if you're waiting on rain to try and get some things going there. The rest of Brazil looks pretty good in my estimation. I actually heard somebody or read somebody earlier today that agrees with my assessment. Maybe in that southeastern section of Brazil, you can make the argument that there's too much rain. I was concerned about that. I heard somebody else bring that up this morning. So that'll be an area to watch. But right now, we still have good moisture coming through. If there's an area that seems to be a little bit on the drier side, honestly, it looks to me like it's Argentina. Frontal boundaries seem to be coming in there and just not producing the moisture that we would like. It's not troubling yet. I'm not concerned. But the pattern just has been, if there's any place that's being missed out or left out a little bit, it seems to be Argentina at this point. So that's something to watch. And now we'll let you go. If you've got any questions about the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.